Hi, and welcome along to the All Guns Blazing podcast with my man DT in the building. Brought to you today by the Flick app. Don't forget to download the app. DT, you love this app, yeah? The app is free and there's loads of polls on it. I know you like your poll. Let's do a poll. There's always a poll on there, yeah? Right, so I know you love a poll, man. You're the poll man.
You've always got to make a dig. Without fail, the show's literally just started and you're like, let me just trigger him off already. It's like, nah, we only do polls because I have to prove you wrong.
Available for all Arsenal fans, including plastic ones who don't watch games, and that if you guys can get onto the... Oh, sorry, DT, I didn't mean you. You know what I mean?
Here he goes again. This guy.
Where were you last week?
I was at my team game. You know that. You know there's going to be certain games this season where they clash with my team, and I won't be at the watch-alongs. I watched the game, because the kickoff at my game wasn't until the game had actually finished. But the logistics of getting to the watch along and then getting across to my game, it just wouldn't have tied up. So it just was impossible. And at the end of the day, I've made this very clear that I've told my team that I expect certain things. There's, shall we say, a Mikel Arteta quote, non-negotiables with my team that, you know, I expect commitment, and I expect, to show me exactly what playing for the team's all about. And the last thing that I should do is just not turn up, because how can I expect my players to be committed if I'm not committed? So I watched the game, watched all of it. I was enjoying it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I felt that in the opening 10 minutes, we looked a little like, whoa, it was a couple of hairy moments, should we say, in the back line. Gabriel, where he let that ball go through in the opening minutes. And you're like, oh, no, please don't do anything wrong on your debut, man, because we're going to get bantered so bad. And then the goal kind of relaxed us. Really good positioning by Willian to get the shot away initially, and then Lacazette does what he does, which is poaching in and around the box and scores. And then Gabriel, so good to get him off the mark as well, and a goal. And nice to see our set pieces looking dangerous and beating the first man. Maybe that's got something to do with the fact that we've now brought in a new set piece coach. So that is very good for the foreseeable future and everything. And then the third goal has just become, it's like not just the diagonal play and the finish by Aubameyang, but the build up from the back. That has now become something very evident under Mikel Arteta. And we've done it multiple times now where we're playing out from the back and you're, as a fan, going like this, like looking through like your hands, and they're doing the business, man. They're doing the business. And
yeah, it's a great goal. By the way, I just wanted to tell you, right? I just put a poll up on Flick. Yeah. I put, will DTFC win his league?
Oh,
right. And then you've got three options: yes,
yes, and yes.
No chance. Option number 3: who cares?
You're such an idiot, man. Jesus Christ. Do you want to know where we are in the league at the minute?
Top. You won both games, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Won 3-0 on Saturday.
Oh, hold on, wait a minute. Why is it not let me do it? I'm trying to put it in. It's not. Well, it'll be on there anyway. It'll be on there. Will DTFC win his league? Yes, no chance, or who cares? You spoke about that move, yeah, and you're right. That's sort of becoming like Arsenal's almost like trademark move, where they're moving the ball out from the back. And the one thing that I'm really liking about now is that they're not just they move it out quickly with intent. It's like they got a plan. I remember under Emery they were trying to do that, but it was so slow. We were getting caught out. It was, even if we get caught out now, you can see the plan of it. Move it out quick, pop, 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 get it up, draw them on, and then create space in behind for Aubameyang, which is exactly what they did. And again, that's what's showing you Arteta's what he's bringing. But on the end of that move is a trademark finish by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And what good news it was to find out this week that he signed a new deal. I mean, I've had my my Tottenham neighbour on my case telling me about, oh, Bale will be a bigger signing. But I'm sorry. I just feel that this guy, he's on fire at the moment. And how good was it for him to finally sign that deal?
Yeah, massive. And, you know, just quickly on the Bale situation, it's taken Tottenham 7 years to replace Bale with Gareth Bale. That's what you need to know about them. So we'll move on. Now, Aubameyang, that, I think, let's be honest, I think all of us knew that this was going to happen weeks ago. But until you see it official, you still have that 1% doubt in your mind going, please, please, please. You know, even a couple of weeks ago when the whole Lionel Messi saga started at Barcelona, everyone was like, oh, no, that's it. We're going to lose Aubameyang now because Barcelona are definitely coming in for him. But as we've actually found out since the contract's been signed, is that Aubameyang actually turned down Barcelona. Inter Milan were one of the sides as well. And right now, he is the best striker in the Premier League. I don't care what anyone says. It's as simple as that. His statistics, his goal ratio, everything he's done show that. Now, because Mo Salah scored a hat-trick in the opening game against Leeds, it means Mo Salah's now ahead of him in terms of how many goals scored since Aubameyang's come into this country. But what I want people to look at and actually open their eyes to is that Mo Salah is playing in an unbelievable Liverpool side, a free-scoring, fluid, title-winning team. Aubameyang is playing in a team that's had 3 managers, different systems, different formations, problems, and yet he's still there. If Aubameyang was in Liverpool's team, I don't even imagine how many goals he would have scored by now. Hopefully, this is the start where he can kick on. And people will say he's 31, but the reason why they have certain people within the club to get the statistics of players is so that you can actually see what they're all about, you know, behind, you know, the man, so we say. Like, he doesn't play like a 31-year-old. He's got the statistics of a 28-year-old, 29-year-old. He's still got the pace. He's still got unbelievable fitness. His injury record, touch wood, is like phenomenal. And it's been like that throughout his career. And maybe that's because he wasn't burnt out at such a young age, because he wasn't, you know, big phenomenon in his early 20s and stuff. And with all due respect as well, he plays for Gabon. So, you know, there's not the pressures of European tournaments and World Cups and all of those things that some of the big nations will do every year. So most summers, he gets a nice break, you know. And also, until we come to Arsenal, he's been playing in European football where they have Christmas breaks. So he's always had breaks and spaces where maybe it's actually helped him to go further. And I genuinely think that he's going to rack up so many goals. He needs 28 more now this season to get 100 for Arsenal. If he does that this season, 100 goals in 3.5 seasons. That is staggering. Seriously, come on, man. We all talk about players that come into this country and adapting and everything else. This guy's walked into the Premier League like he's been playing it all his life.
He's adapted from the day he came in that January transfer window. He scored goals, and it was such an important deal to do it. I said the other day, as far as I was concerned, it's almost like a turning point for Arsenal, right? Because we've seen it so many times over the years. Alexis Sanchez, brilliant, worshipped at Arsenal. Everyone loved him. great player, leaves. You know, Robin van Persie, you know, brilliant that season, 30 goals, Premier League goals, absolutely brilliant. Man United coming with an offer, leaves. And then we've just seen so many down the years, you know what I mean? Fabregas, Nasri, so many of our captains as well. Every time someone's been made a captain, Vermaelen, Koscielny, Fabregas, Henry, Vieira, every one of the captains, he's even broke that curse of the captains leaving.
That's what I mean. It's nice.
Yeah, and it's a turning point because I feel that had he gone, had he had left to go to Barcelona or go to Inter Milan or any of these clubs that were interested, there were UK clubs interested in him as well. Had he gone, that again would send that signal out there that, you know what, Arsenal, they're a selling club. They can never keep hold of their best players. Nobody wants to stay there. It's just a little stepping stone club to another club. I think him staying has now said that, you know what, there's something different about what's going on at the moment. And a lot of that is down, obviously, to the manager, Mikel Arteta. And he said that, didn't he? He said a lot, you know, Arteta persuaded him. Arteta said to him, you can go, but this is what you can achieve. And he spoke a lot about legacy, didn't he? Yeah. He spoke a lot about how, you know, he's thinking about his legacy. I mean, I've got a quote here from Aubameyang. He said, of course, I knew about Arsenal before I arrived. Everybody knows how special this club is. I have seen incredible players, passionate players, invincible players. I dream of being one of them amongst the best and staying in the hearts of the fans forever. I want to become an Arsenal legend like Thierry, Wrighty, Adams and Bergkamp. Too many to mention, he said. My dad is my biggest inspiration. He was a captain of his club and his country. So it means so much to me to be the captain of this special club. I want to leave a legacy. This is where I belong. This is family. And I like that vibe, family. Yeah. Yeah, but there was one thing that me and you were talking about when we was actually discussing the Alexis Sanchez situation. And I think it was a couple of weeks ago on the podcast. And we actually said legacy. And it's about what legacy has Alexis Sanchez got when he finishes. You know, Alexis is going to retire and he's going to have a load of money. He's going to have 2 dogs. And that's it. There's no legacy because where's he going to go back to and be remembered fondly? Barcelona are not going to remember him as somebody that was a great. Arsenal don't want him back. Man United don't want him back. Inter Milan's just been a couple of years stopgap. So there's no legacy. There's no lasting, you know, for anybody. So Aubameyang now, he has set up his home for life. In terms of if he can go and achieve more in these next few years, then he will be right up there with the great names and the names that he was being mentioned. And he will always be remembered in the hearts of Arsenal fans when he's retired. And, you know, we still talk about Henry and that now. And how many years ago did he retire? And you still talk about him and Vieira and Bergkamp and all these great people. Rocky Rocastle, God rest his soul. Ian Wright, all these people left legacies, legends of the club. And that's what Aubameyang wants. So in 10 years' time, 15 years' time, whatever it might be when he's finished, there might be a statue of him outside the Emirates. There might be a place where he can go back to and call home and know that he's welcomed. And when he looks back on his career and his 2 boys grow up, and they're adults and everything, they can look back and go, yeah, this was my dad. This was his home. This is what he's left for us as children to pass on to our children. Legacy. You know what as well? Do you know what the other thing is as well, DT, right? I was chatting to a Liverpool fan. Sorry, no, it wasn't a Liverpool. Yeah, no, sorry, it was a Liverpool fan. Yeah, I was chatting to a Liverpool fan, right? And he was saying to me, he's going, Robbie, you know what I like about Aubameyang? He goes, number one, he goes, Aubameyang's one of those players that plays for another club that you can't hate. And me and him was sort of having a little chat about that. You know, you get certain players, they play for another club. You should hate them. But I feel that way sometimes. You know, Son at Tottenham, right? I should hate that guy, right? but it's difficult because he seems like a likable guy. You know what I mean? He seems like if he didn't have that Tottenham shirt on, he seemed like he'd be a likable guy. There's other players, Aguero at City. You look at him and you say, you know what? Even though he's always putting us to the sword, he seems like a likable guy. This guy's saying the same thing about Aubameyang. He goes, as an opposition fan, he seems like a likable guy. He's so good. You just got to have so much respect for him. And he goes, and then I see his relationship that he has with your fans. And he goes, I love that. You know what I mean? And it's true. The relationship he has, I mean, I thought it was really fitting that they did that, the way they did the announcement, that he was like doing an Insta live sort of thing, almost like he's talking to the fans, because that's the relationship he has with fans. See, I mean, he's very open. He's cool. I remember I was at the Grand Prix over in Italy, at Monza, and I met him, and he spent so much time with me that day, chatting, spoke to my daughter, and I mean, he was brilliant. And he's like that with all fans.
Yeah, he is like that.
New shirts. I mean, he's such a cool guy with fans in general, and he's not afraid of criticism, and he just loves the vibe of Arsenal. Yeah, and that's another important thing I feel. You know what I mean? He feels the connection with the fans. That's why it was another really important thing to keep hold of him, because he's got a connection with the fans. And we've not, again, it's something that's been missing for a very long time at Arsenal. That connection. Yeah. Henry used to have that. Perez. I know. They used to have that, didn't they? They used to have that. Yeah. Like they felt like you felt like them. Righty, like you said. You felt like these guys, if Arsenal lose, you know that Righty is going home and he probably couldn't even sleep for the weekend. It will bother him that much. Yeah. Whereas there's other players, you're like, yeah, you know what? They'd be like,
done.
You know? It's brilliant.
You know what the thing is with Aubameyang is that obviously when he signed, we were told that he was going to be a problem and that he was going to cause all these problems and everything else. What that guy's done off the pitch cannot even be described. It's unmeasurable, because he's bridged the gap between fans and players again at a time when I felt it was the most divided. And I'm not just talking about Arsenal, I'm talking about every other team, because we all see it. We go on all these pre-season tours and everything else. And, you know, when we was in Singapore, for example, and Aubameyang had just joined, and you see all the people in Singapore, they were camping outside the team hotel. Now, we were lucky enough to be staying in the same hotel. So we saw it. They had barriers set up so that the fans couldn't come in the hotel and also get to the players when they were coming out. Now, when the players were coming out for training and everything to get on their coach, these people have been sleeping overnight outside the hotels in tents. And you always have somebody at the club that ushers the players along. Hurry up, can't do this, can't do that. Following their every move. Players are coming out. Some players are just tunnel vision. Don't acknowledge anyone. Straight on the coach. Then you got a couple that go, let me just sign a couple of things, couple of photos. And then this person's going, come on, we've got to go. And they move them on the coach. Aubameyang, every single time, because we watched it with our own eyes, started at that end and literally went the whole entire row until every fan had got an autograph or a picture. And that person's there going, Pierre, come on. We got, and he's like, relax. And he made everyone wait. And it was every single day. And, you know, that was when he gave me a shirt over there. And I even said to him, I said, when we get back to England, can you sign it for me? He said, yeah, that's fine. Let me know what home game. I'll meet up with you. We'll sign it. I said to him what home game and everything else. And at that time, I was parking underneath the Emirates as well. Met up with him underneath there, signed my shirt and everything, had a chat with me. My boy was with me at the time, my 9-year-old, had a chat with him, asked him if he enjoyed the game. Was it a good day? He just, those little things that might not seem a lot, you know, because to a footballer, they can go home and forget that child that they've just spoken to, or me, or whatever it is. But to me and to that child and everything else, that will last forever. That's a lifetime. That is something where they're like, you'll never forget. And he's bridged that gap. And now you're starting to see more players be more responsive, more open and inviting towards fans, and giving just that little bit of extra time, that little bit of, you know, something for the fans to grab onto. Even when we was in Dubai and Lacazette was talking to you in the hotel and everything else, and it wasn't, and if you remember, you see him and the security were turning around and going, nah, he's not in there, like, don't know what you're on about, Lacazette's not there. And Troops is like, Laka, and he's come out and he's like, hey, my brothers. And the security guy's like, oh, mate. And he just come over and started chatting for ages. There was no like, all right, yeah, fine, how you doing, go. It was like having a proper conversation. And it's, I can't speak highly enough of Aubameyang, man. Just what he's done on the pitch, off the pitch. It's
been brilliant.
Unreal.
Brilliant. And I just think that, you know, and that's why it was so important to keep him. It was so important to sign him. There was all the, you know, I remember there were some people saying, oh, you know, cash in. I was like, cash in? Do you not see what this guy does? Yeah, but he's 31. And so what? How old is Lewandowski, the top goal scorer in Europe?
Yeah.
Doesn't look like slowing down. He's 31, 32 as well.
Bro,
how old is Messi?
Mate,
how old is Ronaldo?
Don't get me started because
you know how old is Aguero? How old is Jamie Vardy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And these guys, the way they're playing, their professionalism, their fitness, they don't look like slowing down. I watched Vardy the other day. Right? Guy's lightning. Right? So, you know, it's football is changing. And you've got footballers that if they dedicate themselves to their sport, they can play until, look at Ronaldo the other day for Portugal. And what's he now? He's nearly 35. Is he 35? Look at Ibrahimovic. Just got a new deal, 38. And still the guy who came in last year at AC Milan and was getting all the goals and influencing everything. So I'm saying that football's changing. If there's footballers out there now that they're so dedicated to their sport, so talented, and if they stay fit, you know what I mean, they're still better than you know everybody else out there. So I'm so happy that he signed this deal. It's a much deserved deal. I mean, they're saying that he's going to be the highest earner at the club when you add all the add-ons and stuff like that. But I think you said it last week. If he meets all those add-ons and he meets all those incentives that are in his contract, happy days for us.
Yeah, massively.
Happy days for us, isn't it?
I'll pay them bonuses out of my own pocket if he meets them. Jesus Christ. Have you seen what some of the incentives are if he gets his bonus? My God, we wouldn't be moaning in any way, shape or form, let me tell you that. And listen, this is the Mikel Arteta effect. And I'm saying it, and I've said it. I don't care if people have an agenda against this guy for whatever reason, whether it's a personal agenda, whether it's for clicks and likes or whatever it is, yeah? How you can mock or put this man down, I'm sorry, but you're talking out of your arsehole, because this guy has come in and shown exactly what he's all about. We're seeing a complete and utter change at this football club. When we talk about that goal against Fulham and how it's now becoming a trademark of the way we play, that don't just happen by luck. That happens by training and by the way that you implement everything from game to game. You learn, you take it on board, you progress. And these players are doing it. He's turning players that we were turning our back on into players that are now becoming infectious. And we're looking and going, you know what? He ain't actually that bad. Yeah.
El Neni the other day, his performance.
Well, look, he don't get me wrong, right? We still need Thomas Partey, all right? But you've got to give credit where it's due. El Neni's come in after a year in Turkey, and it's effortless, you know? I did say, though, once upon a time that he could well be a gem. Just remember that.
Yeah, then you slagged him off about 100 times afterwards. So don't forget that as well. But you know what? That, like you said, that's proof, isn't it? That you've got a player that, like you said, we know we want even better than that. But every player, every squad needs these type of players. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got a guy like El Neni that you know you can depend on, rely on, he can come in, he can play to that level. And don't get me wrong, he'll be tested more than this against better teams. But then he did play against Liverpool at Community Shield, look good as well, right? When you've got players, the manager, it's him. He's getting the best out of these guys. Xhaka, all these guys. Mustafi before he got injured. Rob Holding.
David Luiz.
He's getting the best out of these guys. And he's put a lot of faith in them. And he's getting the best out of them. We're going to see over the season, obviously. You know what I mean? The season is a test. But I like what I see. Aubameyang liked what he saw, and that's why he's decided to stay, and it's all positive. However, what else do we need? That's what I want to find out from you. What else is required? Because, you know, Arteta said it's not over yet. We've got more business to do. But what else do you feel? We're probably looking at one or two more signings. Well, we'll probably get a replacement goalkeeper coming in because we know that Martinez left as well. And again, we're you know, respect to Martinez. We'll touch on Martinez later. But what else do we need, DT?
We need, obviously, yeah, we're going to have to sort out the goalkeeping situation and the backup goalkeeper now. And I wish Emi Martinez all the best at Aston Villa. I actually think that Arsenal haven't done too bad in terms of it. And
it's a great bit of business.
Well, because I was trying to explain this to people the other day, and I said that Emi Martinez, let's take the sentiment out of this for a minute, all right? He has effectively been a backup goalkeeper, reserve goalkeeper for 10 years. That's what he's been. There's been times when he hasn't even been our backup goalkeeper because he's been on loan. Now, before Bernd Leno got injured 10, 11 games ago, something like that, I think it was, Emi Martinez, we would have sold him for about £1 million, 2 million almost. No more than that at all. He's effectively played about 10 games for Arsenal, and we bumped his profit to 20 million. In the cold light of day, that's actually really good business by Arsenal.
When was the last time we sold players for profit? You know what I mean? I know it's normally 20 million down. You know?
I know a lot of people are saying, oh, but he should be worth more and this, that. And I said, but look, you've got to look at the reality. The reality is that he's had 10 games. He's never completed a season at the club. If he would have played the whole of last season and had that kind of form, then he would have been up towards Kepa prices because he's better than him.
He's better than Kepa.
All day.
Rubbish.
All day.
The thing is about it, right, is that Emi Martinez, you're spot on with what you're saying. You know, he would have been worth only a couple of £1 million. And also, we got to remember the current climate that we're in. I know people want to ignore that sometimes when it comes to transfers. You can't. There's been a few big transfers this window. Let's be real right now. Have a look at the reality of the transfer window at the moment. There's been a few big transfers, right? And I know there's still more time to go, but most of the bigger transfers have been in that 20 million bracket because, you know, there's been lots of loan moves and stuff like that. There's been a big increase of the sort of loan payment for one season where you effectively buy a player for a season. There's been a lot of that sort of stuff. So, like you said, to get £20 million for a goalkeeper who was a backup, who, don't get me wrong, I love him. He's been exceptional. He goes with a blessing of me for definite. I really hope he does well. He's shown the fight that he's shown to hang in there. And then when you get your opportunity to seize that opportunity and to do so well, he's earned that move. He's earned that 70 grand a week he's now going to be on. He was on 20 grand a week at Arsenal. Right. So he's earned every penny of that, right? But for Arsenal, when an offer like that comes in, you've got to take it. And then as long as that money is used to reinvest
Yeah.
into, which it looks
I'm
like
gonna
that
get onto it.
invest.
I am going to get onto it, but 2 positions, and it needs to be Thomas Partey. I've said this so many times. It's simple. And then the lad from Lyon, which I feel is the most realistic. So I think that's the most realistic in terms of what seems to be happening in terms of movement. I think the Thomas Partey thing, because we don't actually need to negotiate a fee, I think Arsenal are playing a game of poker. And it's a case of, some of the things that I've been hearing are that Arsenal are basically saying, this is what we're offering him below his release clause. You either take it, or we're going to trigger that release clause at the 11th hour, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you're not going to be able to buy a replacement. So it's a game of poker.
But they're kind of, I've heard that Atletico Madrid, they've already been looking at a replacement. There's Marco Roca, who plays for Espanyol, did very well last year. They got relegated.
At the same time, but the same thing, Robbie, they can't bring in the replacement if they don't know that he's definitely going. So that's why I'm saying it's a game of poker. Who's going to show their hand first? Who's going to move? I feel that the other deal is the one that is a little bit more of a complication, because there's a fee with add-ons and everything else. And we already know that Lyon are notoriously difficult to deal with in terms of their owner. He's stubborn, man. So
he's stubborn, but I think there's a bit of a difference this time around. A couple of things in that deal, the possibility of that deal. Number one, Juninho, who's at Lyon, who's like their chief of, football there.
Yeah,
he's got a very good relationship with Edu. Both Brazilians, They have a very good relationship. That might help things along in that deal.
Yeah.
And then number two, it's all right being stubborn, but at the moment, Lyon, along with a lot of other French clubs, probably take PSG out of it because of their owners, are all a bit of selling clubs at the moment. Their league finished early. It was a very unwise decision that was made, and their league finished early. They then had to sit back and watch everybody else finish their leagues. Right, so their league finished early. Remember, Lyon have got no European football. I mean, they did brilliantly in the Champions League, got to the semi-final, but because the league finished early, they were unable to complete their challenge to try and get even into the Europa League.
Yeah.
So they're gonna, even though they would have made a lot of money from being in the Champions League, they're not gonna make no money from being in Europe this season. And we know that those clubs, they don't have the massive TV money that we have in England, and we know that every club is struggling at the moment. And Lyon is a very well supported club, no fans, in their brilliant stadium. I think it makes it. I know they're saying 55 million, and that I don't see it getting done for that. No. I feel that there is going to be some sort of a compromise that's going to have to be done on this, and also more importantly, we're hearing the rumours that Houssem Aouar wants to come to Arsenal. He wants to join Arsenal, you know what I mean? Which, again, that is always something that acts in your favour when the player himself says, you know what, I want to go Arsenal. And again, I think the Aubameyang thing, him signing on, you might be looking at it and thinking, yeah, man, that's exciting over there. You know what I mean?
So, that's the players are looking at the project and thinking, you know what, I want to be a part of that. And the fact that, like you was just touching on then as well, that they've got no European football, that actually going into the Europa League is actually an upgrade for him because he's got no European football. So, it will help him further his international career if he's playing regular for us. And, the way that we're playing and everything else, I just think that he would fit our system, and he could well be that missing link, that little piece that we're just missing in terms of the creativity and the goal scoring. And that's what we still need. And I don't think Dani Ceballos is that player. He's a different player.
Deeper. Plays deeper.
Yeah, we just need that person in there, that one that can be the link between. It's like you've got a jigsaw and there's a piece missing. Do you know what I mean? And it's like that is it. That could well be it. And it's another young player as well, where we're building for the future. We're building for the future. Do you know what I mean? 22. And he's not going to feel like, homesick, shall we say, because of the French contingent that we've got at the club now as well. So, he's got the boys at the back as well that were playing in France with Saliba and Gabriel and everything else. So, as far as
Lacazette.
Lacazette as well.
Lacazette, Aubameyang, you remember
they're all French speaking. And from what I've heard as well is that Mikel Arteta can speak about 3-4 languages as well. And one of them's French. So the communication is not going to be difficult and getting involved in that sense. So there's plenty of players there that have played in the French league, like I was just saying, that are now in the Premier League and can help him adjust and adapt and everything. And, from what the rumours are saying and what everyone's saying, it's going to be about £40 million with around about 10 million in add-ons. And if we can get that done, I'll be well happy, because this is a name where he was
brilliant. He was brilliant in the Champions League, wasn't he? You can see why Arsenal like him, because as well as all the creativity and stuff like that, he also is very good. He's energetic, always pressing, always, putting those tackles in. And that's what now modern day sort of number 10, that's what you need. It's not just about assist and silky skills. You got to put a lot of work in because of the way in which Arteta wants to play. And like you said, the age, 22. It's going to be interesting to see if that one happens, because he was sent off during the week. They had a game against Montpellier. He was sent off in that game. That means he's out now for 3 games. It was a straight red, I think.
He's only got a 1-game ban. He's only been given a 1-game ban. Yeah, he's been given a 1-game ban for it. So maybe his tactic of getting 3 games so he don't have to play for Leon again really worked. But it was quite ironic when I see he got sent off. I was just sitting there laughing, and all the rumour mill started and everything. And there was images of him yesterday sitting on a plane or something, and I was like, don't start this again, man. I'm trying to just like stay away from social media in that sense and just wait until we see something concrete. But all of the big reporters that normally get involved in Arsenal news and 90% of the time get it right have even been mentioning his name and not dismissing it. And they've been openly saying that Arsenal, they really, really like him, and that Arteta really, really likes him. And I think Fabrizio Romano was one that's even on your show turned around and said that, Arsenal do really like him. He fits everything that Arteta wants. And I feel that he's the type of player that if you wait another year, you probably stand less chance, because
it's going to be way more expensive as well.
Yeah.
I think they got it right now.
Yeah, the Saliba situation as well. Arsenal looked at that and said, can we wait a year? Nah. And they had to bite the bullet and actually send him back for a year, knowing full well that if they waited a year to try and sign him outright, they probably wouldn't have got him. So sometimes needs must. But they're the two. For me, everything else takes care of itself now, Robbie. I think for the first time in a very, very, very long time, we've sorted our defence out. And what I like is that we've actually got defenders that are not at the latter part of their career.
Yeah, they're all
we're going to build around them. So I think
you got Saliba's 19, 20. You got 22-year-old Gabriel. Even Mary's 26. That's a good win. People are forgetting about Mary. Pablo Mary's another one we bought in.
And listen, and if he's staying here, Rob Holding, he's not old. I know his hairline tells a different story, but do you know what I mean?
24.
That's what I mean. So he's young as well. And then you've got the experienced players there, like David Luiz, who's going to be crucial. He's going to be massive to, these youngsters and their development. And I don't care what anyone says, they can laugh. But the way this guy has done things at the club in the last 6, 7, 8 months since Mikel Arteta's come in shows just how important he is. And I think that if we add those into that key spine area, then the rest, we've got everything. Lacazette's made it very clear that he wants to stay at the club and that he has no plans of moving on or anything else. I think Willian is going to be very important this season. I think that he will help the youngsters as well. If he can continue the way he played against Fulham in these bigger games, you know, the tests when we go to Anfield and when we play Man City and Man United, that big month that we've got coming up, if Willian can put assists in those games and stuff, then you're going to look at it and go, boy, what a shrewd bit of business. But I feel that those are just the two real big signings. Those are the key. If we do that, then I think that we've had an unbelievable window and we're ready to go.
What about Torreira? He could be going out as well. Torreira.
Yeah, I think the Torreira situation, it's sad that it's not worked out. Again, he's one of these players that I've got no ill feeling over. I thank him for his time at the club. He's always come across as somebody that's never really settled in the country. Like, he's always been homesick in terms of, like, Italy's his home. And I know he's Uruguayan, but Italy seems to be his base and where he's most comfortable. And it seems like he's homesick from there. So it's the best move for him and the best move for Arsenal. And that money can go on somebody that's going to actually help us compete. And like I said, we get those two players in, we will be able to challenge for the top four, minimum top four, and be competitive.
What did you make of the report from the Swiss Ramble, where he did a sort of rundown on all of the sort of owners and what they've spent? And Arsenal's owner, Stan Kroenke, hasn't spent a penny of his own money on Arsenal over the last 5 years. What did you make of that?
I think it's something that we've all known. We all know that Stan has never spent a penny on this club. And what I will say is that I'm trying to word this in the right way, but I don't think Stan's been as tight as some people may suggest, in a sense that he has made money available and it's been self-sustaining, should we say.
It's not his money. He's not.
No,
there's other owners.
Are you gonna let me speak here? Wait a minute, and then let me just say. Now, he's made money available to get good signings. Now, the big problem that Stan's made is that he's put too much trust in certain individuals to spend that money right, and the wages and everything. Remember the wages, all right? This is very key as well. It's not just spending 40, 50 million pound on a player. It's about the wages. We've now got two players, because we still got Ozil, on about 300 grand a week. We've got a whole heap of players on over 100 grand a week, and most of them should never have even got those wages. All right, so the money's been available, but the big mistake he made was trusting the wrong people. What we're doing now is trying to fix those errors. Okay, last year he made money available to go and get the likes of Nicola Pepe and everything else. We weren't moaning. If we go in and buy Partey and I still can't pronounce his pissing name properly. All right. Then when you look at the window, can we moan as fans? Let's be real about it, Robbie. Whether he spent his own money, answer me a question. Whether he spent his own money or not, if we go and bring in those two players with what we've already brought in and what we're doing, can we moan as fans?
I wouldn't moan, no. But let me ask you this question, right? You say about he's made money available. It's not his money. So like you said, self-sustaining was generated in the club.
Yeah.
In a time of need. Now, we know, you just said it, yeah? You just said that if we was to get both of those, Aouar and Partey, right, you feel we can challenge for the top four. We should get us back into Europe, increase the status, but all loads of things, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, will he, suppose we've only got enough money, which is how it's looking, to get one of them. So we go and get Aouar, say, for instance, yeah?
Yeah.
Why can't he then say, you know what? All right, you're a bit, we're 30 million short to get Partey. Here's the 30 million. Go and get him.
Yeah.
That's what fans are moaning about.
And I agree.
We're expecting that all the time, but he's not done it for five years. He's not put his hand in his own pocket and said, hey, you know what? I feel that this is what's going to get us back. I love this club so much. This is going to get us back, man. If we get Partey, go and get him.
Yeah.
He'd be like, there's no money left. Oh, sorry.
Robbie, I agree.
What about Stan? What about, can you lend us? No, get that. My money. No chance, mate. Yeah, I mean,
I know. I agree. I agree. I agree. If we only get one of those two, and it's because of money, because if we don't get both of them, then we know it's because of money. Then we have a right as fans to ask the question as to like, why? Why are you leaving us short when it's very evident what we need?
But he's done that all the time. He's done that over the last 5 years. He's done that many a times. He's like, we've looked on it and we said, all right, not bad. What else are you going to do? And he ain't done nothing, right? Yeah. And you can't just put that down to, yes, you're right. You know what I mean? There's been some bad signings. There were bad signings at every club. It happens, right? But I'm saying, like, you see, when you looked at that table that Swiss Ramble did, and you got guys like Abramovich, obviously, we know Abramovich puts crazy money in, you know what I mean? And Tottenham actually have spent a lot of money out of their own pocket. I think a lot of that's gone on the stadium, right? But even clubs like Villa have spent, you know, their owners have spent over 100 million of their own money, right? He's not spent a penny. And in that time, remember, we spent 3 years out of the Champions League. I just look at that and I think, and then, you know, we he's built this brand new stadium over in LA, which is, I don't know if you've seen that stadium. It's absolutely incredible. It's the best stadium in the world. It's unbelievable, right?
It is ridiculous, man. It's
you know, I remember when I went to Atlanta United Stadium, and I was like, wow, this is the best stadium I've ever. People talk about Tottenham Stadium. I like, go to Atlanta United, it makes Tottenham Stadium a joke, right? But then when I saw his stadium, I'm like, that tops it off. That is unreal,
mate. Have you seen the size of that screen?
Yeah,
like, dear Lord, unbelievable. I'm surprised you have got one that big in your house. You know, this is what this year I'd like to see him. If that money falls short, which it might do, probably is gonna. Probably at the moment they're probably looking at it and say, if we sell Torreira players like that, we've only got enough money to get Aouar. I want him to go and get both of those. Then it's a great window. Then every player in that team's like, wow, what a squad. Every time you step out on that pitch, you know that if you don't put it in, you ain't playing next week. That's the type of competition we want throughout the squad. We want a squad that when it steps onto the pitch, the opposition look at it and think, bloody hell, man, I'm up against Partey, Aouar, flipping hell, look at the bench. They can bring Pepe, like last week with Fulham. They're looking at it thinking, boy, Willian's coming off, Pepe's coming on, flipping. That's what I want to see throughout our team. Yeah, I get that.
He could do it this season. He could do it.
Yes, I know. But listen, what I'm trying to say as well is that, you know, we think of Martinez and Torreira. Those two signings on their own can buy Aouar. All right? Yeah. That on their own. That's over £40 million. That can get that sorted out. Socrates, it looks like they're terminating the contract or coming to some kind of agreement. I think that's the best thing because there's a guy that's on over 100 grand. Kolasinac, we're looking at around about £9 million for him with Leverkusen. Again, good bit of business because we didn't pay anything for him.
If that happens, by the way.
If it happens, it will be great business because we got him for free. So we're making a £9 million profit in terms of the transfer. And another player that's on well over 100 grand a week, right? So you're talking more than £4 million a month for him, more than £4 million a month for Socrates. We've already got Mkhitaryan off the books, right? He was on nearly 200 grand a week. So again, that's over 5 mil a month. You're talking, what? Nearly £14 million a month in wages saved from those 3 players. That is monstrous. That kind of money could well be the difference between getting a Partey. And like I said, Robbie, I'm going to make this clear. I'll make this clear for people that don't understand. If we only sign one of those two, I won't be happy. Because again, I will be left feeling we're missing a piece of a jigsaw.
Well, this is the opportunity for Stan.
Yeah, it's the opportunity. Look, how many times did we say it? How many times have we sat here and said this year is a great opportunity for Stan to turn around, do something where the fans go, yeah, you know what? All right, cool. Can't say nothing. You know, and at the end of the day, if we can get both of those players within our means, then great. Everyone's happy. We're happy. Stan's happy because he ain't had to spend a penny, but we won't care as fans because we got the players we want. But if we can't get one of them for a financial reason, then you've got to expect the backlash, because as fans, we will go, hold on. You've got this much money with your nice shiny stadium and everything else. Why is that? Is that the reason why you can't afford to give us 10 million, 20 million or whatever it might be? Sort it out. So we're going to find out. 2 weeks, Robbie.
Right, we'll definitely find out. Listen, I want to touch on the West Ham game. Obviously, it's West Ham this week.
Yeah.
At home, they look dreadful in their first game. You know, they got beaten by Newcastle at home.
Yeah.
Bounced back during the week in the League Cup against Charlton. You'd expect them to beat Charlton, but they, you know, won that pretty easily. 3-0 Haller with a couple of goals. What do you make of this game? I mean, I'll give you some stats around the game. We've got the Opta stats around the game, and there's some really interesting ones where you look on it and you think to yourself, wow, Arsenal really are favourites for this game. Arsenal have won 10 of their last 11 home games against West Ham in all competitions, with the only exception being, do you remember that?
The very first game.
2015-16 Premier League season, first game, when we got beaten 2-0 by them, remember?
Yeah, and was that the one where everyone was speaking about, what's his name? Reece Oxford, is it? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it might have been. Yeah.
They were saying, oh, Ozil was in his pocket. And well, I think that was that opening game. I think, is that his name? But it just shows.
Reece Oxford.
Yeah, it just shows what's happened to him. He had an unbelievable game, if I remember rightly. And I remember that one. We lost that one. And,
right. Here's another stat for you. West Ham have lost more Premier League matches against Arsenal, 31 that is, than against any other opponent. While only they've lost, I think Everton 34. They've lost more against the Gunners. We've enjoyed more wins against West Ham. The only other exception to that is Everton. We've beaten them 34 times, but 31 times. So obviously, West Ham is always a good hunting ground for us. Yeah. West Ham have also lost each of their last 3 Premier League London derbies away from home, while they are yet to win such a match with David Moyes in charge. 1-0, drawn 2, lost 3. In top flight history, West Ham have lost 199 of their 484 London derbies and could become the second side to lose 200 such matches. Do you know which team has lost more London derbies?
Tottenham.
Yeah, Tottenham. So, interesting stats there. And referring back to that one we said, Arsenal lost their first home game.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. Wait there. So, if Tottenham have lost more London derbies than West Ham, then that means Tottenham are not even the 3rd biggest club in London. Oh, mate. Even West Ham are bigger than Tottenham. Unlucky.
And, of course, the main man for that game is going to be Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, new contract. Aubameyang has scored 8 goals in his last 6 appearances for Arsenal in all competitions, netting in each of his last 4 games for the Gunners. He's been directly involved in 15 goals in the last 16 Premier League London derbies, 12 goals and 3 assists. And one more for you, Willian has created more chances than any other Arsenal player in their 3-0 win against Fulham on the first day of the season, becoming the first player to assist 2 goals in the Premier League in his Premier League debut for a side since Ray Parlour did that against Liverpool in 1992. Some great stats around the game. Arsenal are hot favourites to win it. You confident?
Yeah, I am. I think that we need to go for the throat from the first minute. Go and attack them. go and, you know, exploit the vulnerable areas because they're a mess. The whole club's a mess. You know, we think that our owners are bad. If you ask West Ham now, would they swap the 3 clowns for Stan Kroenke? They'd bite your hand off. They'd love Stan Kroenke. They would. You know, that Gold, Sullivan, Brady, and it's just an absolute shambles. And I've got a lot of time for West Ham. I've got a lot of time for their fans. But I'll tell you something, they are poor. And they're they're one of my tips for relegation this season.
Got to be careful, though. Got to be careful not to take. There's some great players, man. They do click. You know, I mean, Mikel Antonio, we know, is very dangerous. You know, they've got players like, you know, we've been linked with. I forgot his name. It slipped me now. The Brazilian, Felipe Anderson. They got good players. I don't understand why that club is always in such a mess when they've got such good players. Yarmolenko, you know, they've got good
individuals. They've got good individuals, but there's no consistency to the way that they play. You know, on any given day, they can turn up and put in a good performance, but on any given day, they can look like an absolute shambles. And the problem with West Ham is that the latter is what happens more than most. And I think that an early goal for us will open the floodgates, and it will actually, I really do. And I think that we need to, you know, go for the throat from the opening.
We've got to win it, haven't we? Next week is Liverpool.
Liverpool next week. Yeah, we've said this, Robbie. We've had this conversation. We've had this when we looked at the fixture, and we had the first 5 game thing on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and we said, with the games that we got coming up, the first 2 have to be wins. Have to be wins. End of. Simple as that. Have to be wins. So this is the second one of the 2. And we get that. We can then go into the Carabao Cup match against Leicester, feeling good, feeling like we can make some changes and everything else, and then concentrate on Liverpool at Anfield. And you know, Mikel Arteta's not stupid. He will know what we need to do at Anfield. He will probably have a good measure of Liverpool now because he's beaten them in their last 2 games. Anfield will be a different proposition. So he will have to set us up right and everything. He will probably look at what Leeds did at Anfield. Great going forward. Absolutely shocking in defence, but great going forward. But I feel that, this year, you're going to find a lot more teams go at Liverpool this year and not be so fearful of them anymore. Because I think that once Liverpool finally lost the game, then people started to say, you know what, they're not invincible. They're not as, you know, great as what they might think. And teams were getting beat before they'd even kicked off. So teams are going for it now. And second season, once you've won the title, is always difficult. So we'll see what happens in that game, but that's for another podcast.
Okay, well, listen, thank you very much for today's podcast. It's been very, very interesting. Lots of positivity with Aubameyang signing that new deal. And, you know, hopefully we can get like DT says, let's not fall short this transfer window. Let's get those other deals in. But it's all positive around Arsenal at the moment. Let's keep that positivity going into the game. And don't forget our poll. DT's team, is they going to win it or get onto the Flick app right now, right? Will DTFC? What's the name of the league?
Essex Alliance. Huh? Essex Alliance League. We're in the Premier Division.
Will DTFC win the Essex Alliance League? Yes, no chance, or who cares? Right?
You know
what I'm voting for.
Yeah, you are such a fool. We had to dig deep this week. We had to dig very, very deep this week. It was one of those. 3-0. Yeah, but we had a man sent off at the start of the second half, so we played.
Here we go. And then what did you have to do with that?
Nothing. I was the quietest person there.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I have to do everything above board now.
The team plays in your own image, yeah?
Listen.
The second game.
Nah, listen, it was the start of the second half. It was a second yellow card. It shouldn't have been a yellow card. I think that the fact that the referee has not gone through with the second yellow and actually changed his mind over it actually shows how bad, it was at the time. It was one of those. I don't blame the ref because it looked bad. But when you see the actual replay of it, you realize it actually wasn't what it looked like. And you see how difficult it is for referees, especially at that level as well. And they don't have the
replay,
the luxury of, because I film the games. I'll send the referee the replay. There's your VAR 24 hours later. Go and have a look up your own performance. So there's no hiding place. Do you know what I mean? Because this stuff gets filmed. But no, listen, it's tough for the referees. And my guy took it. He took the punishment. He never objected to it, never said anything. He took the second yellow, got sent off. And it was only 1-0 at the time when we went down to 10 men. And then we stepped up. We stepped up. And then we made it 2-0. And then they had a player sent off. Straight red card. So, yeah.
Anyway, thanks for watching the show today. It was really interesting. Getting bored by the no, for real. Thanks, DT. Thanks for the show today. Thanks for everybody for watching. And we'll be back next week with another podcast. Don't forget, you can download this podcast on all your normal formats, and also link in the description for that app if you want to vote. Thank you very much. It's Robbie here from AFTV. Don't forget to check out AFTV on Flick for all the latest transfer rumours, for all the information on Arsenal, for all the information on AFTV. You can check me there for Q&As on a regular basis. The link is in the description. It is free to download. Download it right now.